Hey, look at all those T-shirts. That's cool. All right.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us. I can't tell you how much we appreciate it.
Well, I love it. It's wonderful. I'm pleased to be talking. You're in Scotland, Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Wow, great. Yeah. Okay. Thanks a lot. And somebody will do the tweet. Yeah. Somebody. I don't know. Thank you. Right. Okay. So, so you joined the schools network and you've watched the first Peace Day movies. Your first two Peace Day movies. Is that right? Yeah.
I'm the service coordinator here at the International School, and this is the first year a group of students have gotten together in order to celebrate Peace Day. And so they've been working on a whole lot of activities to try to get our entire school involved and aware of the work that you've done. And so they are very excited to talk to you and tell you what they're doing and ask you a few questions.
Okay, great. Well, that's cool. Let's go for it then. Let me know what you're doing, and yeah, then we'll get into some questions. That'd be really interesting. Thank you.
Okay, so our school's doing several things for Peace Day since it's our first year. The first thing we did, we started doing assemblies, like a high school and middle school assemblies, kind of explaining what Peace Day is, and we shared the videos that of Peace Day. Then we're going to be doing the World Peace. On the 21st, we'll be setting up out in our front lawn as kind of decorating piece and help right, but and then another thing is we're contacting and trying to get Google to do a Peace One Day Google Doodle and let everyone kind of try and make a Google Doodle that will hopefully be presented by Google on the day. Then for our elementary kids, as well as the pinwheels, they're making Peace One Day badges that they can wear before and after and on the day. So as they become little memories and stuff, because we also have badges that we got and our wristbands that we got. And then finally we have doves, and these doves are white cut-out paper doves that are sitting on the desk, and people are writing and answering the question, who will you make peace with? And they're going to be stuck up on a board, and so that's kind of a peace thing. Who are we going to make?
Wow, that's awesome. You're doing a lot. Great, well done. Really good. I love the sort of part of putting up on the wall, who will you make peace with? I mean, you know, that's really super special, isn't it? All of it is obviously incredible, and but obviously I find it fascinating that 98% of the world's violence that's going to happen today is going to happen in our homes and in our communities and in our schools. Only 2% of the violence that will happen today will happen in an area of conflict and through terrorism. 2%. So 98%, the real war that humanity faces, every single one of us can play a role in that, because it has nothing to do with governments. It has everything to do with us. And that's something that we're really interested in at Peace One Day, and certainly I am on a personal level, is redefining the meaning of peace. Because, of course, when people think about peace, then they immediately point the finger to an area of conflict, when actually it's just not the reality at all. So it's really super special that you guys are doing that, because, you know, if we're all sorting out our own homes and our communities and our schools and making sure that at university everyone's okay and nobody's left out, etc., you know, then obviously we're making a huge contribution to a decrease in violence, whether it be verbal or physical. In fact, that's recently why we've changed the word domestic violence to domestic abuse, because violence negates actually a lot of the abuse that takes place, which is verbal. And we need to watch that stuff. So that's really great. Well done. Thank you for that update. Thank you so much. Okay.
So we were wondering if you had a life motto or a piece of advice that you inspired to live your life by?
Do I have a life motto? You know, I think that I think there's a few things really that I think about a lot. You know, one of the things that I think about is kind of keeping things simple and just going for the objective. You know, you can only climb one mountain at a time, basically. So there's no point in focusing on any others. And that's what I do at Peace One Day. I mean, we had a clear goal of, you know, creating a day of peace, a day of ceasefire and non-violence with the 21st September, and we achieved that in the first film you saw, Peace One Day. The second film was really the main emphasis of that film was everything led to the moment in Afghanistan, obviously, where, you know, area number 2 was to you know, show that in the most complex place of the world, then a ceasefire could become a reality, you know, when everybody thought it was impossible. So, that was achieved. And so two of those things that you're seeing there, it's because I am totally only focused on, one, the delivery of the day, and then two, the achievement in Afghanistan, that those things became a reality, because they wouldn't if we hadn't. I like boats. I like sailing boats. I like racing cars. I like team activities. And, so I kind of, I race for the line. I don't think about the next race. And if your team are, thinking along the same lines, then you have a real good chance of getting across the line. And that's what we do here. It's very, very focused. It's really clear. It's really simple. And, so basically, I think what I'm trying to get to is the point of keeping things simple and going for the objective. Those two phrases stay in my mind the whole time. Keep it simple and go for the objective, and just deliver. And that's it. So that's one thing that I think about. I also think getting a no is much more interesting than getting a yes. So if somebody says no to me, actually that's when I get excited. So I think that's worth thinking about. No is an opportunity, it really is. In any kind of situation, whatever it is. As long as you're asking the question, then you're moving forward. And if somebody says, well, I don't really want to do that, or I'm not interested, then you look at it and you kind of, walk away, take a deep breath, then kind of go back and say, well, how can I turn that into a yes? What do I need to look at? What do I need to do? Why do they not understand me? Etc., etc. No is a gateway to yes. I love no's, man. So anyway, that's something to think about. That's the second thing that I talk about. And I think the third thing is failure is everything. Failure is just everything. So if you fall over, just get up and run again. And just kind of look at why you fell down. It's not a problem. You don't pass the exam. I mean, your teacher will probably get frustrated with me for saying this, but if you don't pass the exam, it's not a problem. I tell you what, it is a problem. yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm going to be in your bad books now forever. But actually, but what I mean by that is, it is a problem if you didn't work for it. It is totally a problem. Yeah, I mean, but as long as you really gave it your best. You really gave it your best, and that you gave it your best. And if you failed in whatever you do, this isn't about exams, it's about anything. If you fail, don't worry about it. Just go, okay, all right, that's interesting. What do I need to do differently to pass this, to get a yes? I mean, really, this is interesting. This is why they say people are wise. They say people are wise because they fell down tons of times. Yeah, that's wisdom. So, you just got to go for your lives, and you got to go, man, I'm just going to go for it. And if I fall over, cool. It's, and I think that there's a lot, I was totally bottom of the class. I was told I was thick, and I didn't think I was smart till a few years ago. And suddenly I worked it out. Actually, you know what? You can be smart but not pass these exams. I mean, I had a problem in school. I didn't know what was going on. I don't know why I didn't know what was going on, but for whatever reason, I struggled, desperately struggled. I was freaked out in that place, and I was completely humiliated by people, and I was bullied as a consequence of it. So, I just think that, failure is the gateway to success, and I think it needs to be held in a different light for people, yeah? So those are the three things. Love or no, don't worry about failure, and keep life simple. There you go.
Thank you.
Where will you be and what will you be doing this year on Peace Day?
I'm going to be in Rwanda. I'm going to be in Kigali. We're doing a show there, a youth celebration. So I'm going to leave on Thursday night, and I'm going to come back Wednesday morning. And we're going to do a sweet show there. It's going to be broadcast live, to the whole country via radio and television, and indeed you'll be able to watch it on the internet. And it'll be special. Very importantly, there's some major things happened this year. You saw some corporates do some massive stuff this year. And, I think we're going to be on the Google homepage this year. I think it will be a Google Doodle next year. And it's wonderful that you guys are getting involved in the Google Doodle. It's been about 7 years of work, and I think finally Google are going to go for it. That's amazing of them. We're really pleased. They're a good bunch of people. You're going to have the song One. You can get it on iTunes now, so I'd really appreciate it if you just get a copy of that song. It's 79 pence. But just download it now, and then it'll pop up onto your system. Tell your friends about it. That really helps us. But that song is being played live for the first time ever in Rwanda at that show. So, obviously there's a big influence on the Great Lakes region of Africa, as you know, and there's a lot happening there in the Great Lakes region of Africa. It's we're trying to expose as many people as from my work to the day as possible. The exposure this year is absolutely massive. And of course, you are a part of that. The reason this is a success is because of people like you. You know what I mean? This is a team effort. And it truly is the case. If you're not doing what you're doing, then we wouldn't be where we are. And I really urge you to tell us. Get on our Facebook. Tell your friends to get on our Facebook. It helps. Following at Jeremy Gilly at Twitter helps. Getting that song really helps. Maybe playing it on the day in the university, at the start of school, in the university or whatever, or at your events. It's a beautiful song with an incredible message. But yeah, I'll be in Kigali.
What's the best way you've seen Peace Day being celebrated?
I'd say the best way, listen, I've seen it celebrated now so many times, but, anybody saying sorry has got to be the best way. There's just no doubt in my mind. Somebody saying sorry, that's like completely changing the framework of, our relationships. If you've fallen out with somebody, then, to make peace with that person, on whatever level it is, it's just everything. That's like, that's reconciliation, that's forgiveness, that's totally what the day's about. And then, if that happens in the families, and then that's mind blowing. You've got two people who don't talk in a family. The impact that has to the family is just enormous, as well as it being horrific for the two people involved. Even if they don't talk about it as being horrific, it is horrific because it's the very basis of what we, call kind of like, if it's not going right in our family and it's not going right in the world, do you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like on one level, we have to do everything that we can to sort out this stuff in our families and in our homes and with our friends and in our schools and in our universities. And so that's what I think, is the best thing that happens. Humanitarian activity, people praying, domestic abuse organisations doing things, that's what it's about, But the mere fact that you're doing what you're doing, it's almost in a way there isn't really a better way. I wouldn't sort of say any activity is better than any, but if I had to choose one, then I would say, well, people making peace, is awesome.
What made you think at the start of creating Peace Day and getting this all started that as an individual, just one person, you could make such an impact?
Well, I had no idea that I was going to make this impact, and I certainly didn't think that I'd be on the road for 17 years, which I now have been. It's just kind of like that. I just can't even believe it, actually, to even think about it. But it's such a long time. It was just lovely, really. It started off as an idea, and I think that's the lovely thing about going for the objective and keeping things simple, and then never and no's just being interesting, and whenever you fail, it being cool. Because otherwise, of course, none of this would happen. None of this would have happened if I hadn't followed those principles. I can tell you that right now. Because, people would say in the beginning, mate, this isn't going to happen. This isn't going to work. You can't do this. You can't do that. McKinsey just told me, I wouldn't be able to, get to 1.5 billion exposed. Well, we probably got to 2. It's... And McKinsey's are amazing. They teach me everything. I love them. That's one of the most exciting rooms I ever walk into. I think the answer is, of course we can make a difference as individuals, and if you look at history, you'll see that most of the things that change things. Look at Rosa Parks in America, or Gandhi, or I don't know. Not that I would compare myself, not even for a nanosecond, towards some of those people. But great things, usually start in someone's mind, and then they get their mates around them, and then they do something awesome. And, it is always going to be a collective effort, no matter what, mums, dads, families, friends, everyone gets involved, don't they? And that's how things happen.
Thank you.
After the events of 9/11, what pushed you to continue with the Peace One Day?
Well, 9/11. I was there, so it was and you're obviously from the continent, and it was a horrific activity that happened that had a massive impact on people's lives all over the world, we obviously, our thoughts are with those families who suffered that day all over the world, and obviously in New York, and those very things, we never want to see that kind of stuff occur. We don't want innocent people to die unnecessarily and unfairly anywhere. And, but that very action and that activity, really is the fuel to moving forward and carrying on. But remember, right, like 98% of the violence that's going to happen today is going to happen in our homes, communities, and schools. So, you know, and it's a really important thing to keep remembering. Because of course we're going to walk away today, and then we're going to see the news, and the news is only going to talk about one thing. It's going to talk about terrorism and war zones. It's not going to talk about what's going on in our homes, communities, and schools every single day. It's not going to tell you that 98% of the violence that happens today happens in our homes, communities, and schools. You know, so it's kind of like, you know, this is about us redefining that. It's like, you know, we can play a major role in the future of our world, and you guys are the future, and you are the future leaders. And this is why it's so amazing that your school is utilizing this day to, you know, inspire you and empower you, and you know, kind of give you this opportunity to become a peacemaker. And you know. And that's why, you know, reach out hard to your social medias this week. You know, do everything that you can to get other activities happening this week. You know, I'm sure your headmaster will say to you, please, you don't need to go to any lessons this week. Just work solely on raising awareness of Peace Day.
Oh, I wish.
Okay, fine. All right, well, just whatever spare time you've got then.
So since you began your journey into this day, you probably had a lot of high and lows. What would you say was your lowest low, if that makes sense?
What's my lowest low? Oh my God.
I mean, if there was one, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, there are lows, but of course, you know, what we talked earlier is the lows become the highs, you know what I mean? It's like, as desperate as life gets, and it can get heavy, can't it? Like, properly, and very unexpectedly. But usually, you know, they become such great comes out of them. I mean, anything that you read or listen to, you know, well, most things that you read and listen to, you know, somebody got really into a really low place in order to sing that song or write that piece of literature, you know, or that poem, you know what I mean? So, you know, in the end, it all sort of just becomes one, and actually you become really grateful of the fall or, you know, of whatever happened. But listen, money is a real problem. Money's a nightmare, you know. I mean, it really is. It's wonderful when you've got it, and it's terrible when you haven't. So, as we know, it's challenging to kind of keep the boat afloat. You know, because, you know, if it's got holes in it, then you're just running around all the time, you know, sticking corks in, and in order so that you can continue to race. And I mean, that analogy is almost perfect. You know, it literally is like a boat that just suddenly a hole appears, then another one comes, and another one comes, and another one comes, and you're wondering whether you can get across the line. And that's kind of what happens on a daily basis. You know, that is one of the greatest challenges I face, is keeping the boat afloat. I mean, it just is. And that's okay, because that's just one of those things, right? That's just part of it, you know. So to kind of like complain about it, and it would be like ridiculous. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like being a climber and saying, well, it's going to snow. It's like, well, yeah, that's what happens. You know, it snows. So, you know what I mean? You just kind of got to go with it. You got to roll with it. And but I'd say that, you know, a lot of my pressure is created in those sorts of situations. But you know, it is what it is, and you just have to keep on going. And then I'd say that, yeah, I mean, I think that's one. Funnily enough, it's one of the main things. I mean, on a personal life, in my personal life, well, then that's completely different. It has nothing to do with money, you know. And we all have lows, whether it's lows through relationships or whatever it might be. You know, I mean, you just, you know, you get dished some funny hands at times, don't you? And like, wow, I wasn't anticipating that. But you don't really want to know about my personal life. We'll be here all day.
Thank you.
So next year, would you prefer if we made more of a balance between fundraising and raising awareness?
Well, I mean, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, if you raise some funds and, you know, that supported Peace One Day, it's really great. But it's, you know, I don't actively go out there and ask people to help us with that, because, you know, what's much more important, like, genuinely, I can deal with that problem. I mean, yeah, you want to fundraise, obviously, you know, that, you know, everyone gets excited, particularly the accountants. They're over the moon. But, you know, on many levels, yeah, you want to do that, do it, great. But what's really important is celebrating the day, however you want to, you know what I mean? It's like, that's what it's about. And, you know, that's really how I feel. I want you to do what you want to do, you know, and I don't want to dictate what you should do. It's, What's amazing is putting those things up on the wall and saying, I'm going to make peace with this dude. I fell out with him at school, or, I haven't spoken to that person in a while, or, I haven't seen my dad, or, I haven't spoken to a sister, or whatever it might be, just because the satisfaction you're going to get out of that is amazing. But, raising awareness is everything. No, I'd love you to focus on getting other international schools involved. I'd love you to focus on telling as many people as you can. It's really important through your social media. I mean, you're in your first year, so you guys as a group are going to roll together, for 3 years? 2. This year and next year. So you're going to be there next year, Peace Day, or not?
Yeah.
You will be there in 2016?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. What I would do if I were you is I would stick together as a group around this and really support each other, because somebody's going to get upset at some point. I mean, just really support each other through the amazing journey that you're going to have for the next 2 years, and you're equipping yourselves to go out there and nail it in life, and that's really exciting. And I think that what you could do is you could have a little stick something up on a wall and go, okay, well, this is what we did in 2015. How are we going to expand this in 2016? Yeah, and look at that journey. Because you're going to have to go through that journey in business anyway, and that's going to be really interesting. Growth, awareness. Do what I do. One of the things that you could do is you could say, how many people can we expose? Why don't you chart that this week? Go, how many people are we exposing? Okay, and you all look around and go, how many friends you got on Facebook? And of course, if somebody's got 10 friends and somebody's got 100, then that's cool. And we don't need to compare them. But, and nobody should feel bad about having 10 or 100. You know what I'm saying? We really just hang in there with each other and look after each other. But look how many people you can expose, right? Through your Facebooks, through Twitter, through the school, through anything that you can do. And then do awareness and go, how many people really are aware? So we exposed all of those people, but how many people did we as a group actually become involved, like they were really doing something? And then however many that people is, what's going to be really exciting for you, where you're going to know that you really truly have just totally affected someone's life, is whatever the number is that you got to with awareness, 2% of those people are going to change their behaviour and they're going to be more peaceful. You just impacted somebody like you can't believe, because they might not have been bullied. And in some cases, somebody will go home and who are bullied, and they will kill themselves, very sadly. Yeah? Okay, thanks. So I'm not saying, I don't want to get really heavy. It's obviously only in some situations that somebody does that. But bullying leads to horrific, in some cases, events. So, the impact that you can have is massive. And it's not just about bullying, by the way. So what I'm saying is, so you've got exposure, and you've got awareness, and you've got behavioural change. 2% of your awareness number is the behaviour you changed. It's amazing. So stick those 3, exposure, awareness, behavioural change. Have a look at what you did this year, analyse it, tell us, and then go for what you're going to go for next year. As part of your journey, throughout the next year, you could say, well, how many international schools can we get involved in this day? And it's going to blow your minds. If I said to you, I can see people now here from, God, I don't know, but there's probably 4 continents represented in the room, I'd imagine. And there's probably, between you, there's going to be like, if I asked you now to name people that you know in a different country, I reckon from the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, from the sort of 12 people in that room, you are going to know people in probably, 70 countries? Like half the world? It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable how many people you know across the world. Just the group now, here in front of me. It's incredible. It always blows my mind. I've done it. So I've done the exercise so many times that I've got to realise what our tentacles are like. Yeah, the reach that you have is so vast. It's so exciting. So what I would do is I would put also a grid up, maybe a map on the world. I'd buy a map. Somebody could go and buy a big map. And then stick some pins in it, right? So every time you get somebody who said, I'm going to do something on the day of peace, put a flag. Somebody make a little something. And you're just gonna love it, because you're gonna see, okay, well, I got somebody to do this here and here. And it's a group effort, and it really will just excite you. You're also going to learn a hell of a lot about the world, by the way. And you're going to know a lot more about the countries of the world. So the whole exercise is deeply rewarding. Well, that was a long answer. Okay. Well, so I think they just said to me we have 5 minutes, but they're going to drag me off in a second. But anyone got another question? No? Okay, I've worn you out.
us. I mean, you're an amazing speaker. I wish you could speak for our entire student body. You really are. I can see these guys are all lit up and very excited to go out and do more things. So thank you so much for your time today.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Well, take care. Really good luck on Peace Day. Have an amazing day. Make sure you tell us what's going on, and maybe we can talk this time next year, something like that. I'll make a commitment to do that, as long as you make a commitment to tell the world.
Okay.
We're done then. See you in a year's time. Bye.